Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week I've got a little cutlery tray to alter. See you in a minute. Right, so today's little odd job, it's another odd one, is this little folding cutlery tray that one of my fellow shed supervisors brought in the other day. It slides out to expand to fit a drawer for cutlery, and the only problem is he wants it to be wider. Now I thought at first I might be able to take off, there are some little blocks underneath which stop it opening too far. My first thought was to be able to just take those out and somehow secure it with a base across so that it would be wide enough, but he wants it to be 28 inches wide, which is, it's just about 22 at the moment, so if I shut it up at 22, so I need an extra 150mm 6 inches, and clearly with the overlap on each side only being 2 inches, I can only expand it out to 4 inches more, which would be 26 inches. So that's not going to work, and even then it would leave you with probably a slightly odd situation. So I think I'm going to have to try and find some material the same. This is, I think, bamboo. It's fairly thin, the base. It's like a 2 or 3mm base with a piece planted on it. Right, so 24 hours on, this has rapidly developed into the usual chaos that anything I do goes into. But I think I've got a solution. I found some bamboo laminate flooring on the B&Q website which I thought might be useful and might be a way to go. So I drove all the way over to Kidderminster, which is about, I don't know, 9 or 10 miles away. And when I got there it wasn't in stock like it said it was on the website, so I abandoned that one. Basically you could buy sample pieces to check out whether it was suitable, but they went long enough anyway, even if they'd have had the right ones there. So then I drove off down to our local Dunelm, which is another probably 10 miles the other direction, and because I knew they got bamboo trays but they hadn't got anything that was suitable. And so I was just about to give up, having wasted an afternoon running around, when I walked into, I think it's called Home Essentials, which is a TK Maxx home type part, and I've basically found another tray very similar, and I've ended up just buying it because it's no good messing around trying to save £5 here or £10 there. If you waste all your time doing it, and I could have got something from China through Temu or anywhere else. In fact, I did find exactly the same tray, but it was probably about the same price as this, and it was going to take me a week to get, so in the end I thought, to hell with it, let's just get another tray. So I've got another one. It's not quite the same, it's deeper, which is not a problem because it means I can always cut wood off, but it's the same principle, slightly darker in colour. Okay, I'm going to have to live with that, but I just want to get this thing done, and done nicely rather than just bunging a bit of something in it that's just not right. We'll see how we get on. What I need to do is deconstruct that one, have a think about it, and I know it's going to end up slightly different, but I think it will get me there in the end. So the other thing I need to do is to take this one apart. I want to get these sliding bits apart, because I can get to within 2 or 3 inches of what I want just by taking these stops off. There's some fairly big stops inside these that stops it opening up too far. Now to do that, I think I'm just going to take these bottom pieces off there's like a strengthening piece here which is just pinned on. So I think I'm just going to take those off and see if we can't work from there on. Don't think any of this is put together in a particularly substantial manner. It's only just, it's a foil, it's not even a real bamboo, but I just want to try and make it as nice as I can. So those will come off, and I think then I can bend this sufficiently out of the way to be able to slip these off. There we go. So even by just taking those off I can probably get somewhere, but of course you've got a great big lump stuck on which will destroy the veneer, the foil stuff again. So even that's not probably an option. So there we go. So we'll do the same again with this one. No, it's glued on. Oh, I don't know, it's not too bad though. What it's doing, it's giving me the option to go wider on this one. Because I haven't got that. If I can get that cleaned up, we'll see if we can get the glue off. Right, so we've taken that apart. I'm just going to do a test on the back to see if the bit of isopropyl alcohol is okay without causing any damage. And then I'll see if it actually does anything to get rid of the glue. But it won't be the first time I've rubbed stuff on and wrecked a finish. No, that's not affecting that at all. So it's a question of whether it will remove the glue that's on it. I don't think it's going to touch it, but it's worth a try. Right, so that's got all the disassembly done, so I can see where I'm going now. Now, given that I've got this tray, I've got a couple of options. I can just cut down this one section here and stick it on one side, and that will give me an extra 3.5 inches when I need 2. So I can give them the option of either having that in it as an extra or just one small tray as an extra. I'll just cut it carefully down that side and we can go on from there. So I think we'll go with that first, see how that works. Let's get the Japanese saw out, clear the deck. And see if we can cut this down neatly. Right, that's freed that up. I'm not going to cut the bottom at the moment because I might want to just do it with a knife right down the middle. So that's one option, and then the other option is to go full send and add that in instead. Now that's 28 inches, which is what he needs roughly. What I could do with that as an option is to just not have the sliding compartment on the other end and use some of this timber just to sort of make good the sides and go all the way around so that it becomes one solid tray that doesn't adjust. So I think I'm going to have to go back to him now and decide whether or not he wants it to be like that or like that. Right, that gives me what I want, I think. finding the best way to get any glue residue off is just to go at it with a very sharp chisel, almost parallel to the surface. It's just taking that glue off. Right, so I'm back on the trays again. I've seen my buddy at the Menin Sheds, and he is happy to have the two big trays effectively. And I can't remember where I was going with it before, with how I would put it all together, because it's been a week or two since I've done it and time has passed. But when I look at it, I think I was aiming for 23 inches, and that is now 23 and, well, 22 and, I don't know, 7/8, something like that. 580 mil. So, actually, those two trays together will do me, so I don't need for much else to do. However, there is a step in level between these two. They're different heights. So what I think I'm going to do is two tasks really, I think. Firstly, I need to lift this tray up slightly. So I'm going to put a piece of packing front and back underneath it, which will bring it level. Cut that to size. That will then mean those two can be actually glued together face to face like that. Going to stick these together, butt joint them with a bit of mitre bond, because ultimately they'll be glued to the sides of the finished tray. So first I'll just glue the two halves together, get those clamped, and then I can worry about the front and backs after. Right, so after 12 hours or so of it gluing, we've got to where I thought I needed to be, but those of you who may have noticed earlier realise that I made a bit of a fundamental cock-up. In my defence, when this was started, it was 2 weeks ago and not the 5 minutes or so ago on the video. And I did mention at the time that the guy wanted a box that was 28 inches wide, and I've come back 2 weeks later, forgotten that because I'm a bit senile, and I've got a box that's 23 inches wide. So I can get out of it relatively simply, and it is a fairly simple alteration. I've still got some bits left. What I'm going to do is to take the remaining piece I've got of the box here, and one side or another, I'm not sure which yet, whether to keep it like that or like that. I can add this piece on. It needs a couple of things doing to it first. It needs that height reducing slightly because it's higher than these, and it will need some of this material on the front just trimming back so that I can slide over it effectively and make it fit on and fit the extra width. So I'm just going to measure up and do that, and hopefully then we'll see the back of this thing, but it just shows if you're a bit thick like me, you need to write these things down or not leave it for 2 weeks between doing things. But I'm just going to get the circular saw set up so I can rip this height down to the same as that. It just involves taking that top section off. Right, so I've trimmed back the front panelling. I've cut the new piece down to size, cut myself a new base for it that slides into the groove. That should now fit up tight to there, and then that'll just need a little bit of a tweak to get the base to glue up tight against that side there, but it's in the groove there. And then I think I'll just cut 2 trims, one either side, just to tidy up that piece there, which will be just essentially a small piece in there like that either side. Cock up averted. Need a little bit more sanding to do now, but it's now 28 inches wide. That's got the 2 pieces trimmed down in height, so I just need to glue those in, and then hopefully, apart from a little bit of light sanding, we're pretty much done. Right, well, we've got it finished now. I've got this slightly darker panel in the middle, but there's not a lot I can do about that. We've filled all the joints and it's now a rigid, solid tray that can go back to my colleague, and let's hope it fits. I'll probably find out he actually said 23 inches rather than 28, but we can always go back and change that if we had to. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Look forward to seeing you next time. We'll be doing something different in the shed. See you then. Bye.